You know, I think I figured things out a little bit. Since carbon's such a big issue right now, we'll talk about just the basics of it. Carbon atom consists of 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, and 6 protons. You know, if you're listening, you understood what I just said. Whether you believe it this way or not, that's up to you. My perception is that we're consuming, and when I say we're, I'm talking about humanity. We're consuming at such a rate, we're not going to leave any resources for the generations to follow. It means we'll leave nothing. We'll have decimated everything we need. You know, yeah, we could have all the structures we need, but to maintain what we have becomes another problem. I notice so much that there's such an advertisement to push people to just buy this and buy this and buy this and buy new and buy new and buy new and buy new. If you need something, absolutely. It would reduce the demand, but there's a difference in a need and a want. What you want isn't always what you need. And this goes across the board. This isn't just material. You may want an answer to something, but it doesn't necessarily mean you need it, because its effect may be far more than you want to handle. You see how that goes? If you need something, sure, go buy it. If you don't, wait till you need it. Just because they release a brand new phone doesn't mean that you have to go get it. Especially if you're still paying or making payments or a lease on the one that you have. Stick with what you got. If it gets broke, fix it. If it's not fixable, then replace it. Consuming our resources at a rate beyond what they can be recovered is exactly what happened with Easter Island. They consumed their resources to the extent where people left or they died. And there were numerous ways that this would happen. Slow down. When you drive on the interstates, everybody's blowing past you. For that matter, even the police are. That's more fuel. If you know your vehicle and know where its sweet spot is and know where it gets the most, yeah, but only do it in safe ways. With everybody running 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, that's more fuel, that's more stress for other drivers on the road because they feel like they have to drive that fast to keep up. They don't. What are you going to save? Literally, time yourself. What are you going to save for time if you drive the speed limit? What are you going to save? 45 seconds? A minute? You need to watch racing to understand how speed minutely increases or decreases the amount of time to take a lap. I mean, it takes a pretty good bit to reduce the time. It's not worth it. More wear and tear on your vehicle. Your tires are only rated for certain speeds. Your tires will run out quicker. That means you're going to have to buy tires sooner than you need to. If you've got a 70,000 mile tire, you might get 50,000 miles out of it if you're running 80 to 90 miles an hour all the time on the highway wherever you're going. There's thermodynamics. It's going to wear the rubber down faster. There's more friction. You know, all of these things, this is not just this. Do you need to go out and buy a pair of shoes? Do you need 500 pairs of shoes? How many people are homeless today and don't have any? And you have 500 pair in your closet or in your house. Pass them on. Don't tell anybody you did it. Nobody needs to know. Walk out there, give someone some shoes. I keep maybe two pair of shoes. I wear them out and I go buy another pair. And normally I may buy two, especially if they're two for the price of one pair. Yeah, absolutely. Gives me one to work in, gives me one to not work in. I wear my clothes until they fall apart. And then I'll buy a little here and there to replace them. I was raised simplistically. I still had all the things that I'm thankful I had. My mom worked her butt off. Single mom. Gave her a pretty hard time when I was a kid. Pops left when I was 3.5. Mom couldn't deal with me, my temper, my behavior in school, not listening. Medication wasn't doing anything, and the state intervened. The state took me for over 7 years. My mom had to pay him child support. Mom wasn't a drunk, she wasn't a junkie, she didn't do drugs. You know, she worked and tried her best. But I learned a lot. And in the South, in group homes and foster care, it's not like it is up north. And I tell you, being in a group home, and in many cases, being the minority in the group, and even the staff, some of the most amazing people that I could have ever asked to be in my life. And 20 years later, I still keep in touch with many of them. I knew which ones were there for the paycheck. I knew which ones who weren't. But at the end of the day, I was still treated actually more than fairly. The disheartening part was being told that they saw potential in me, not my peers. And yes, I was the minority in a group home. A group of my peers, I was a minority. As well as around the staff. But I was never, if anything, I was picked out and I was pulled to the side and pulled under somebody's wing. And I was told this. But for a long time I didn't have to be told. I could see it. I could feel it. This was 20 years ago. I was treated by a lot of black folks a lot better than my family did. But I think the difference is all those staff in these homes had already seen as many of me as they needed to be able to, and in that I mean my behavior, my attitude, to recognize that I guess to them I had heart. and that I used my mind in ways that normally got me in trouble. What I'm trying to say is, the world isn't exactly as it seems. And as much as many humans don't recognize how much of the problem we are collectively, especially in countries that are not third world or not second world, we're talking first world. You know, we are the demand that warrants the supply. Supply and demand. The more we want, the more they have to produce. The more it wastes. So whose fault is it really? Is it the elites, who are literally the minority, but they pump a lot of money, whether it be theirs or somebody else's, back into the system to make sure that the majority is taken care of and kept at bay? Is it really their fault? Or are they literally giving us everything that we want? And we fail to recognize who's actually doing this. Are you going to keep consuming? Because a beast consumes. A beast is to a wolf that leaves nothing for the morning. It means no remains are left by morning. But it's normally not just a lone wolf. It's a pack. But I think the problem is the pack. And I'm not just talking about 10. I'm talking about 7.7 billion. Leaving that last little bit for the ones that just, they do their thing. They try to give us what we want, try to keep us happy. I'm not defending anything here. I think in a way I'm just trying to call it like it is. If the train wrecks are bothering you, you need to look at what's on the manifest in a common everyday train. There's going to be petroleum, there's going to be crude oil, there's going to be gasoline, there's going to be liquid natural gas, there's going to be grain, there's going to be plastics, there's going to be liquid plastics, there's going to be all kinds of stuff. But you need to think about how much of the things that you have purchased within the past year have these or require these materials for you to have what you want. And then I want you to think, if you want these materials driving around every day with a bunch of crazy drivers, where tractor trailers get in more wrecks, especially in the wintertime and in bad weather, than anything else. And you get out in the windy areas, the Midwest and the West, side winds, terrible, can blow a truck over, can blow a loaded truck over. Do you want these materials right next to you driving? Or would you rather them to travel through rural areas? Well, if you would, then these guys need time, and they need workers to maintain these tracks, to maintain these rail cars, to maintain these locomotives. They can't get anybody to work, so now they have to rely on electronic sensors. Well, we see that there's beginning to have some problems with getting eyes off the tracks, eyes off the locomotives, eyes off the rail cars or the rolling stock. When you can't visually maintain, it's like trying to learn how to build a house when all you're doing is drawing and reading books. or when you want to learn how to paint a car or work on a car. Bookwork doesn't get you the experience. It doesn't. So if you're afraid of what's going on with the railroad, go ask them for a job. Say, I want to be a visual inspector. Teach me how to visually inspect the train tracks. Or go and say, I want to visually inspect the bearings. I want to do the, you know, they need people, just like everybody else. There's so many people working from home, 2 and 3 online jobs. That's not doing anything to handle a lot of the issues here. It's not. And I've been guilty of it too. I'm no different. I'm human. But you know what? Now that I've recognized the problem and called it for what it is, makes me want to start doing my part. So, at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You're going to keep blaming everybody? Or are you going to do something? Come out with another video soon.